I think you guys, don't you refer to it as founders as a startup or founders as a service?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
and really in the academic world, our core, like if you look at maybe the hub of the wheel of who we are, we're founders as a service. So we say FAAS, kind of our play on SaaS.
SaaS,
But,
right.
but this idea that, especially when we came through academic background, is most academics, they're PhDs, they're extremely bright people, but they're not the most savvy at business. They don't know what they don't know. So
Hmm.
really what we would do is, let's take a case where we have a company that comes out of Baylor, a technology. Let's not even call it a company because it's really not a company yet.
Right.
We have a private equity partner that agrees to fund it. They raise, they've got X amount put in there. They'll typically name a CEO, or there'll be at some point that they'll name a CEO, but everything else is us. So the whole founding team, from technologists through execution, is us. And
Mm.
and really, because we find that, and we'll want to keep the professor on that was the ideator behind the concept in some sort of consulting capacity, because they still want to contribute and they have got great ideas of how things should be done and where the technology should be developed, but they don't want to run the business. I mean, they want to teach, they want to publish. In many cases, they're submitting for intellectual property because they want to, they want to use that as a mechanism for publication. So
Yeah.
for us, really, it's about developing that founding team, but then also like all the constructs around that. But then making sure that we're keeping the professor engaged, because they still can bring a lot of intellectual value, and they typically will come in some sort of consulting fashion directly. And then we'll build and nurture the company to the point where we'll let the private equity firm know it's probably about the time to bring a CEO in. They'll then bring a CEO. We'll, in many cases, help them identify the type of profile that they need. And then we'll continue to do that until we actually can get, to full commercialization, which, we're still working with a number of companies on getting to that. But it's kind of this gradual process where they pick up more as we start to give up more as we get, closer to really launching a company.
Sure. And so you're doing all of the foundational work to get somebody formed as a company. They're bringing the innovation to you. That all makes sense. Um, what do you find as you're going through that to be? I meant to ask you before, do you have your own fund, or do you work with just PE partners and investors? And
Yeah.
how's it been just to compile that?
Yeah, we'll work with PE partners. We don't have our own fund.
Okay.
Our business model, just so you're aware, team, because it's unique in nature, is we are fee for service. So we do, as they raise money, we'll identify, the private. So basically, if we have we take a, our first phase of, if we have a concept, let's call it, we'll run it through an entire business analysis. And this is too where we work very closely with like the MBA students at Baylor University, where we'll have them do a lot of the business modeling. We'll oversee it.
Oh,
Yeah, which is great.
that's a cool connection, basically, to allow those people to play that analyst role.
Yeah, like I would even say, even today, of 25 employees, we're probably 7 to 8 of them are interns that are university students, and they cross the
Got it.
gamut. We have a number of PhD and grad students, but it's kind of a core foundation of who we are. Is kind of this, intellectual curiosity and teaching is a core element of our culture. So it's very important to us. We want to grab students that have an interest in this. So we work very closely with Baylor's entrepreneurship program.
But that's not contractual. That's just because that's your core. That's who you
Yeah,
were and where you came from, and it makes sense. It's a
yeah,
really nice alignment between, education and commercials. So that's great.
it is. And, in many cases for us, because, and especially if you're getting an entrepreneurship student, typically they're a grad student. They've gone through some form of, undergrad in another discipline, whether it's marketing, finance, whatever. But we're kind of pulling teams together and we're running this analysis, and we identify, what do we think the market opportunity is? Is it investable or not? That's basically presented to our private equity partner, who then makes the
Hmm.
determination that they think, yes, we think this got viability and we want to invest in it or not. And that's really the first phase. Once they decide, yes, we want to invest in it, that analysis also indicates, for us to get to the next phase, what is it going to take? And what do we think it's going to take from a resource standpoint? So our business model is a combination of we're fee for service, but all of our upside is we always get equity in all of these different startups. So
Sure.
we want skin in the game, but we also want to have that upside that if we are truly the founders as a service, that we do get that upside once once that company has commercial viability. So
Yeah,
it's
that
kind of
makes sense.
unique in that approach.